Camp from Washington, the great state of Washington, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you for being here, Inspector General Ware. It's great to have you back. I'd like to start by asking about the fraud landscape. Through your investigations, did you find any trends about the size of loans that you determined to be potentially fraudulent? Like, are we basically talking about mom and pops? Are we talking about larger operations that received more significant funding?
It ran the gamut, so it was all of it. But there was quite a bit of larger people that went after it. Larger numbers. I don't know if they even existed, right? In many of the cases, right? So, but went after larger numbers that would be more large than a mom and pop shop would get.
Okay. Did you consider the size of potentially fraudulent loans when you prioritized which ones you're going to go after? Or are there other factors that you determine which allegations to pursue or how you prioritize?
Size is one of the factors. So we have a prioritization framework within our office. It takes into account our hotline data. It takes into account the task forces that we're working on. But we could look at much smaller amounts, particularly if it's involved in an intricate criminal ring. Like, for example, one of the flags in the report was IP addresses, right? And in an instance where we find that there was maybe 500 loans that went to one place, we would know that they gave like 13,000 out here, 50 here, and ordinarily we wouldn't go after them unless they were public trust issues, violent criminals, or of the like, but put them together and we have pulled down a whole lot. Link analysis helps us with that in data analytics. We have cases that start with one person and explode out to 800.
Wow. Thank you. I also wanted to touch on the role of technology in your investigations. Last time you were here, you spoke about the indicators of pandemic relief fraud being durable. I believe you said something about less like footprints in sand and more like footprints in concrete. In your testimony, you talk about the use of certain automated technology to aid in your investigative work and about your office's recent establishment of the Technology Solution Division to use machine learning and artificial intelligence to identify outliers in the portfolio for investigation. Could you expand on the kind of data that you're using to investigate these cases of potential fraud and how your office has utilized or may continue to improve upon the use of certain kinds of technology to go after fraudsters?
Yes, thank you for that. Well, where we use it the most right now, the only place that we're using machine learning right now is within our hotline. Because we went from 800 hotline complaints a year to 250,000.
Wow.
So we needed to be able to get to the bottom of that. And the Pandemic Response Accountability Committee really helped us a great deal with that, and first giving us bodies and then giving us access to their data analytics group before we were able to stand up ours and move on our own. That's how we're able to find common identifiers based on the casework. So that's what we're using, the loan files and everything like that, overlaying them with the hotline information and being able to determine what is actionable, most likely actionable. So that's one way in which we're doing it. But in terms of data analytics, the link analysis is which really helps to validate the numbers in this report because it deals with common fraud clusters that start maybe in one place and then we could put it to the next program. Because fraudsters didn't start and stop with just PPP, right? If we found it there, you'll find it in idle. And to be quite frank, you'll find it in unemployment insurance. And you'll find it in the other programs as well.
Wow. Could you... well, thank you very much for being here. I am deeply appreciative of the work that you're doing in your office. Thank you very much. As a taxpayer, as a small business owner, I sincerely appreciate the leadership you're showing here. So thank you very much. Mr. Chair, I yield back.
Yields back, and now I recognize Representative Bean from the great state of Florida for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon, small business, and welcome, Inspector General Ware. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
A few months ago, we had a meeting here where SBA came to talk about changes to the SBA program